All right, welcome back, YouTube. So in this video, we're going to be talking about the green cards from Core Set 2020, doing our on-the-fly, never read them before review. So we're starting with Barkhide Troll, which is a 2-mana 2/2, enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it. So it's effectively a 3-mana for 2, or a 2-mana 3/3, and then you can pay 1 to remove that counter from it to gain hexproof until end of turn. I like this card for limited, just because it's a 3-mana, I keep saying 3 mana.
Yeah, other way
around. It's a 3/3 for 2 mana.
Yeah.
So that's good, and then it has its own ability to protect itself.
Yeah, I think if in standard, if you have the proliferate style decks, they actually become a really viable thing.
Yeah.
This could be a good card that fits into that 2 slot.
Yep.
So next is Brightwood Tracker, 4 mana 2/4. That's an elf scout. For 6 mana, tap it and look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. Not 100% sure how I feel about this card. I like the ability in limited, but 6 mana is a lot to pay.
Yeah.
So
I mean, late game, I like the ability.
Yeah.
All right, so we have the green Cavalier for this one. So this is Cavalier of Thorns, 5 mana for a 5/6 with reach. So it's decently costed. When it enters the battlefield, reveal the top 5 cards of your library, put a land from among them onto the battlefield and the rest in your graveyard. And when it dies, you may exile it. If you do, put another target card from your graveyard on top of your library. This, I guess, seems okay for limited. I'm not really seeing too many constructed applications where on 5 mana you need another land.
yeah,
I guess if you're trying to do things from the graveyard, it does put 4 cards there, 5 cards there, I guess. You don't have to pick a land.
so I guess the thing to note is it's put a land
do you
card from
have to?
among them onto the battlefield.
I guess you do have to.
It's not tapped either.
No, it's not.
So what are you doing for
You're playing a land
1 or
afterwards.
2? Yeah, I mean, what are you really doing for 1, potentially 2 after this happens?
Yeah. And you have to exile to trigger his death ability, that's
Should I
different
give
from
it back?
Well, it's different from the other ones, right?
Yeah, I believe they just all die.
Yeah.
They could. We'd have to go back. Somebody will let us know.
Yep. I think this is differently worded than the other ones.
But I think it is you are returning. So this one.
But it also, the card goes to your library.
Yeah, I see the drawback to this.
Yeah,
is
it doesn't
the
go
other
to
ones
your
are
hand.
Your hand or
in
the
play,
battlefield.
Yeah.
So
this just seems weaker than the rest. So YouTube, tell us what it's good for.
Yeah. Next, Centaur Courser, a 3 mana 3/3.
Next, Elvish Reclaimer, 1 mana 1/2, gets +2/+2 as long as there are 3 or more land cards in your graveyard. I guess that goes well with Cavalier if you dump a whole bunch in the graveyard. Pay 2 tap, sack land, search your library for land, and put it onto the battlefield tapped.
Bad impression of Night of the Reliquary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Feral Invocation.
Gets bigger once.
3 mana enchantment. The enchantment has flash. And then the enchanted creature that it enchants gets +2/+2. So very interesting mechanic on a enchantment, I think. So
Yeah, Ferocious Pup. 3 mana for a 0/1, but when it enters, you create a 2/2 wolf token. So it's 3 mana for 2 and 3 power and toughness, which I guess there's probably some wolf synergies coming up. So it might have more.
Well, you already have some.
In standard, yeah. In the core set, there might be more
here.
wolves coming up here.
So next is Gargos, Vicious Watcher. 6 mana, 8/7, legendary Hydra. Has vigilance, but then Hydra spells you cast cost 4 generic less to cast. Whenever a creature you control becomes the target of a spell, Gargos, Vicious Watcher fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. So it fights up to 1 creature you don't control.
Don't have to fight.
You don't have to fight if you don't want to. Whenever any creature you control becomes a target of a spell. No, it's just a spell, though, not a spell or ability,
Correct.
which is generally the case.
But Gargos is doing the fighting.
Yeah, so it doesn't necessarily have to be the Llanowar elf that's going to die.
Right.
Has vigilance.
I think we should talk about the last line of text that you haven't mentioned yet.
Oh, the Hydra spells cost 4 less to cast.
So a lot of Hydras have X in their casting cost. So little do many players know that when you cast a spell, you first well, I guess I'm going to skip over some of the steps.
Yeah.
But you declare the value for X when you're casting it, and then you pay the mana cost for it. So you can say X is going to equal 4.
For Hydra Crisis.
Sure, for Hydra Crisis. So what's the converted mana cost? Well, it's the blue, the green, and the 4. But it now costs 4 less. So you just play blue and green.
Yeah.
So you pay blue-green and get a 4/4 Crassus.
Seems pretty good. I guess the other implication, the other Hydra to see is Bioessence Hydra.
Mm-hmm.
So you're getting for 2 mana a 4/4, but that could also be potentially bigger upon all of the planeswalkers and other creatures that are entering the battlefield that have.
Yep.
Or
the one that I was thinking of, not in standard, but Mistcutter Hydra. You pay green and nothing for a 4/4 that can be countered with haste.
Yep.
And
protection from blue, right?
Yeah, I think it's pro blue too. So I think this is like a really good commander card, a really good limited card if you open it in your pool. And I don't know.
I think a mono green, the mono green Elves deck might play one of this card.
Yeah, and if they can fit in like splashing blue for Crassus, I think you could see it.
Yeah, I think this card's good in just that mono color deck. And
I think it's my turn?
Yeah.
Okay, so Gift of Paradise, it's a reprint.
Gain some life.
Gain some life, enchant a land, make some more mana of any color.
It's another preprint. Greenwood Sentinel, 2/2 for 2, but this one has Vigilance. It's a little bit better than
it's
Bear.
A Vigilant Bear. Growth Cycle. So this is 2 mana instant. Target creature gets +3/+3 until end of turn, and gets an additional +2/+2 for each card named Growth Cycle in your graveyard. So it's Giant Growth for an extra mana, but then it's what's +5/+5 for 2? Nothing?
I have no idea.
So
I mean,
like
+4/+4 is played, right?
Yeah, for 2 mana. So like, I don't know if this will see like Eternal play, but it might see Standard play in a Stompy deck.
Yeah, it's. I think it's very difficult to play. Like you want to play multiples if you open them in your seal pool,
but you have to have a critical mass of creatures.
Yeah, and you also want I think you feel like you want 3.
Mm-hmm.
So if you hit just 2, it becomes
2 is better than 1.
Correct. It is.
It's just not as consistent as 3.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting card. I don't think it's going to see constructed play necessarily, but again, if you have a mono green Stompy deck, it could.
So next, Healer of the Glade. 1 mana 1/2, but I guess it's interesting. When Healer of the Glade enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life. So turn 1, gain 3.
It's also an elemental.
Yeah.
I like this against mono red strategy. It blocks a lot of the X1s, we'll say. So like trading with a Vivian Pyromancer is pretty good here.
Yep.
Howling Giant, 7 mana 5/5 with reach. When it enters, create 2/2 wolves. 2/2 wolves. So it's a 9/9 for 7. Effectively.
And you're making 2 more wolves for the other one, right? So
yeah. So yeah, I like this card for limited as the 1/7 drop that you are allowed to play.
Yeah. So next, Leafkin Druid. 2 mana 0/3, tap to add a green. But if you control 4 or more creatures, add 2 green instead. This is like that critical mass elf ball deck.
But it's
it's not an elf.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I feel like they missed something here, or they're playing towards something else. Maybe.
I believe this rotates the same time Paradise Druid does, so I think Paradise Druid is probably just better.
Yeah.
Leyline, I've got 4 of the Leylines.
I know, but I think I got 3 of the Cavaliers.
Yeah, so Leyline of Abundance, 4 mana. You're not paying 4 mana for this. You're starting with it in play in your opening hand. So whenever you tap a creature for mana, add an additional green. Odd. So you have to play with mana dorks. And then 6 mana, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control.
So I guess the thing to ask, and I'll ask you while we're having this discussion, so if I'm convoking with this on the battlefield...
Oh, you're going to make me look up the Oracle text on Convoke. I think Convoke just reduces the cost, right? Yeah. I don't think it works with
Convoke. I figured you would be able to, just off the top of your head. So, that's the thing, because Convoke is in standard right now.
Correct.
So, and one of the big decks playing Convoke is green-white tokens.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing to think about is the fact that, when you're convoking, you're not floating mana.
Correct. I believe the Oracle text on Convoke says you may tap a creature to reduce its mana cost.
So
that doesn't work. I don't know that this will see play anywhere.
No, and I think if Convoke was worded a little bit differently...
It could.
That at that point, maybe you would.
Yeah.
But...
Alright, so Loaming... Oh, no, it's your turn.
Loaming Shaman. So, 3 mana 3/2... but when it enters the battlefield, target player shuffles any number of target cards from their graveyard into their library. I don't know.
This is a weird card.
Yeah, text is very odd. When I saw Loaming Shaman, I was like, great, gonna go get a land. No.
He has a shovel, but not for a land.
Yeah. So we're
He's
just
burying something.
Gonna go
Not
shuffle
digging
it all
up.
back in, I guess.
All right, Mammoth Spider, 5 mana, 3/5 with reach. This is really good in limited because the Flyers deck probably can't deal with it very well.
5 toughness on this thing, and
it's
3
huge.
power is actually.
It's actually probably really good against the red deck because they have one way to deal with it.
Yep.
In limited, sorry.
So next is Might of the Masses. 1 green instant. Target creature gets +1/+1 to end of turn for each creature you control. This is your go wide strategy again for green. Just one.
Also a reprint.
Yeah, one finisher.
Natural End. So this is a new disenchant cycle. I don't think it's a reprint. Is it new?
I don't think it's a reprint, but
So 3 mana, instant, destroy target artifact or enchantment. You gain 3 life.
Frenzy. Good way to kill
it's a good
Experimental
way
Frenzy.
to kill. I mean, we have a lot of ways to kill that coming up. You have disenchant this. There's other things.
I just think in green this is probably your one of your better ways. You do gain some life,
which
and you're
is
destroying
needed
it.
against the deck. Yep.
So next Netcaster Spider, 3 mana 2/3 with reach. But whenever Netcaster Spider blocks a creature with flying, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn. So 4/3 with reach against a flying creature is pretty good. Because remember we were talking the white video, 3/4s is really where you wanted to be.
Yes, 4 toughness is key, but this thing can take it out.
So the one of the few creatures with reach that can actually take out the 4 toughness creatures with flying.
Yep.
So.
I think in limited this is a really good card against the Flyers deck. So if you're in green, definitely. I guess in draft you'd want to take it if you've seen a lot of Flyers get passed around. Nightpack Ambusher, 4 mana for a 4/4 with flash. Now here we've got the wolf synergy, so other wolves and werewolves get +1/+1. At the beginning of your end step, if you didn't cast a spell this turn, create a wolf token. So this makes that wolf pup a lot better.
Yeah.
And this thing has flash, and it's a 4/4. So
kind of a flashback to Huntmaster.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I like this card a lot, especially in limited. If there's a wolf synergy deck in standard, obviously this will be kind of what it's centered around.
What do you think? Like you play this with like
Tolsimir?
two wolves? I mean, just in limited.
Oh,
like
in limited, you can play it by itself. I play it by itself. 4 mana for a 4/4 with flash.
Oh, well,
surprise blocker is good. And if you have any other wolves, it's great. I think you could see a standard deck with like Tolsimir and Arlen makes wolf tokens.
Okay.
So you could have something there.
Her wolf isn't that bad.
Right.
A 3/2 with some
Yep.
way to get around it. So next, Overcome.
It's Overrun.
Yeah, but you get less on it. So
it's only +2/+2.
It's a 5 mana sorcery.
Strictly a downgrade.
Creatures you control get +2/+2 and you gain trample.
Bye.
Yep.
I mean, it's a finisher in limited.
Yeah.
That's about it. Overgrowth Elemental. Another elemental, which is a recurring theme in this set. 3 mana for a 3/2. When it enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on another elemental you control. And whenever another creature you control dies, you gain a life. If that creature was an elemental, put a 1/1 counter on this. So obviously, if you've got a lot of elementals, this card just gets that much better. As a 3/2 for 3, it's kind of your if you need to play it, you can.
Mm-hmm.
But with the text on it, it synergizes a lot with stuff in the set.
Next, kind of your removal plummet. 2 mana instant, destroy target creature with flying.
Seen it?
Yep.
Seen this card before too. Pulse of Marasa. 3 mana instant, return target creature or land from a graveyard to its owner's hand, and you gain 6 life. This card is probably going to see play. It did when it was in standard before.
Both limited and...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
limited, you want creatures anyways.
Like, this thing is great in limited, so...
In standard, we do have Evolving Wilds. It doesn't see a lot of play, but we have, Blast Zone.
Yeah.
So getting back Blast Zone or getting back...
the land you sacrifice with Lotus Land?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, there's lands that you want to recur, and gaining 6 life is very relevant.
So next, Rapid Bite. 2 mana sorcery. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control. So not a fight mechanic.
Correct.
A little bit better than a fight
asymmetrical.
mechanic.
It only hits their creature.
So,
it's also probably the only non-situational removal spell in green. So you have destroy target flying creature.
Yeah.
You need a creature, so I guess it is situational, but it's the only thing that can hit any creature. Next, Season of Growth. 2 mana enchantment. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, scry 1. Whenever you cast a spell that targets a creature you control, draw a card.
I think either half makes this playable in limited.
In limited, yeah. I don't mind this in limited. This is kind of how many giant growths can you draw? and finish your opponent with.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even mind the scry ability off of
No,
it.
scrying is really good.
Yeah. So
green doesn't have ways to control its draw step usually, so...
Right, it becomes a lot harder.
Yeah.
So, next Sedge Scorpion, it's a 1/1 with Death Touch. Stop signs are always good.
He is strictly worse than the black creature that has lifelink as well, which is kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
Sherrod summons 5 mana instant. Search your library for up to 2 creature cards with different names. Put them into your hand. I like this. It's a 2-for-1, and it's an instant speed. However, the Planeswalker version in white has not seen any play in Standard.
Oh.
So, you know, this is probably okay in Limited.
I guess I didn't even realize there was one, to be honest.
Yeah, Ignite the Beacon.
Oh, that's right.
Hasn't seen play.
Everybody was hyped about that, too.
And I actually thought that it'd see play because it was an instant, and it hasn't.
I think 5 mana in white's kind of harder, though, because of
you have
green.
Teferi.
Well, in green, you can ramp to it, though.
Sure.
So,
sure.
But maybe this does see some play.
I thought that Ignite the Beacon would, with it being Planeswalkers everywhere. But
so this is actually the protection color for this color, or from the cycle for this color, but it's a rare, not an uncommon, which is very interesting because I think up till now, when they've done a cycle, they've all been the same rarity.
But that's because this is probably the best one.
Yeah, and this thing I think is absolutely ridiculous. So it's a 4 mana 5/4. Already good value there.
Yep.
The spell can't be countered. Good value there. Protection from blue. And then you can pay a green, and it gains your choice of Reach, Trample, or Haste.
So that second ability just says protection from Teferi.
Yeah.
And then he attacks Teferi because he has Haste.
Yes. And
so this card's really good.
So for 6 mana, it's a 5/4 with Trample and Haste.
Yeah.
It's
and then playable
you
even not as a sideboard card, I think.
Yeah, I
think Limited you're playing it, and I think you can just play it in green after rotation for sure. Like, we don't have many good 4-drops after rotation.
You get to lose the 6/6, right? And this should just easily replace Nullhide Ferox. They can put Bright with it.
Yeah. All right, Silverback Shaman. 5 mana for a 5/4 with Trample, and when it dies, you draw a card. I like this for Limited a lot because it replaces itself.
Next, Thicket Crasher, 4 mana, 4/3 with Trample, but then to note other elementals you control have Trample.
And he is an elemental.
But so it's other elementals you control get Trample, which is why he has the text of Trample himself.
Yeah.
Not sure why they didn't just say elementals you control have Trample. I'm sure there's a reason.
There's a reason for it, but I like the idea of a green-red elemental deck now that we're like going through all these things.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of synergy there. Here's a reprint for you. Thrashing Bronodon, he's not rotating. 3 mana for a 3/4. Pay 1, sacrifice him to disenchant something. And he's a really good stop sign.
Yeah. So here's Veil of Summer. It's a 1 green instant. This is also from the colored cycle, I guess, if you will, of uncommons here. Draw a card if opponent has cast a blue or black spell this turn. Spells you control can't be countered this turn. You and permanents you control gain hexproof from blue and from black until end of turn. So basically, they go to Doomblade your creature.
What's interesting is that you and permanents gain hexproof, not protection.
Yeah, correct.
So you could still target your own permanents and yourself,
if
but
you're playing, say, Sultai.
Yeah. Yep. So the other cards in this cycle have all been protection, but this is hexproof.
Yeah. So it's very interesting. Like, there's a lot of text on here, and I believe Veil of Summer's a reprint, correct? That didn't see play.
No, I think we
had... Or is it maybe something similar to
We had something very similar. I think the strategy with this card is that you cast a spell, they counter it, you respond with this, draw a card, and then your card resolves. Because it can't be countered at this point.
Yeah, so
it's very situational.
You gotta remember to read the whole card, though. Like, there is
We're not guilty of that
going on.
All right, Vivian Arcbow Ranger. So this is triple green, +1, and it starts on 4 loyalty. Her +1 ability is distribute 2 1/1 counters among up to 2 target creatures. They gain trample until end of turn. So you don't need creatures to use your +1 because it does say up to. -3, target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature or planeswalker. So that's really, really good because it's asymmetrical again, and it can target planeswalkers now. And then -5 is you choose a creature card you own from outside the game, reveal it, and put it into your hand. So this is just going to create toolbox sideboards in green, which I think is really cool.
So the first time I read this, I read it as, like, +1/+1 counter on up to 2 target creatures. And it's actually distribute 2 +1/+1 counters among up to 2 target creatures.
Yeah.
So your 1/1 Llanowar Elf is a 3/3. So, like, there are those things that, like, reading it differently, because everything else, like a Johnny, the White of Johnny, puts a 1/1 counter on up to 2 target creatures. So, maybe not as good, but she does a very good job of protecting herself.
She fights. If you have a creature already, she'll fight to protect herself. But I like that it hits planeswalkers. Do we have another green? We do.
So, Hydra. Voracious Hydra. The other Hydra we had here. So, like, this is 2 green and X for a 0/1. And then it has trample. When it enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. And then when it enters the battlefield, you just choose one. Either double the number of +1/+1 counters on it, or it fights target creature you don't control. So, say you have the other Hydra that we were talking about.
Oh, you just pay 2 green and X equals 4.
Oh, okay. So you have a 4/5?
No.
Wait. Oh.
No, because you could have an 8/9.
Okay. So 2 green, put an 8/9 with trample on the battlefield.
Yes.
Okay. That seems pretty good.
Yeah. They're both rares, so it's not too likely you open them in your pool, but man, these things get out of control.
Somebody will
sure.
undoutedly open both of them together. It will not be me. I have horrible pool packs.
All right, let's see if there's another green card. There is.
Ooh.
Vorst Claw, 6 mana, 7/7, totally vanilla.
Except
he's an elemental.
Yep.
And then the last one, I don't know.
Possibly, I guess. Wakeroot Elemental, 6 mana, 5/5 that has pay 5 green, untap target land you control. It becomes a 5/5 elemental creature with haste, and it's still a land.
So, like, it kind of only costs 4 green, right?
I mean, kind of.
Because you untap the land that you...
I guess.
Yeah. Worth noting is that's not an until end of turn effect.
Yeah.
And it actually says that in the reminder text.
Yeah.
This effect lasts as long as the land remains on
the
battlefield.
This is another card that, like, could potentially see play in, like, a mono green style decks in standard.
I think in Wilderness Reclamation it becomes a powerhouse.
Well, I think the thing to note with this is that it just becomes a 5/5. So things like Nissa can still target it.
Yeah, make it an
8/8. Or the Vitsugazi. Make it a 14/14.
Yep.
So, I mean, there are some implications there.
Oh, we have more. Wolfkin Bond, 5 mana enchant creature. When it enters, create a wolf. That's a 2/2. An enchanted creature gets +2/+2. So it makes a body, and it's 4 and 4. Like 4 power, 4 toughness for 5 mana. It's just okay. The downside is you do have to have a creature to enchant.
And then, I guess the equipment here, Wolf Rider's Saddle, 4 mana for the artifact. So when it enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 green wolf creature token, then attach the saddle to it. The equipped creature gets +1/+1 and can't be blocked by more than 1 creature. The equip cost is kind of steep if you're going to move it for 3, I think. But the fact that you're making a 3/3 that can't be blocked by more than 1 creature is not horrible.
And if you're synergizing with wolves, I mean...
Maybe you have the Anthem?
Yeah, maybe it's a 4/4 when it comes in. Like, it's not bad. Ooh, we have more. Woodland Champion, 2 mana for a 2/2. Whenever 1 or more tokens enter the battlefield, put that many counters on Woodland Champion. So it's better than a bear for sure. It's probably playable and limited. Alright, that's going to be it for this video, because that's the end of the green cards. So we're going to make one more, and we're going to go through the rest of the multicolored, the artifacts, and then the lands. So thanks for watching this video.